You felt it, that sudden, eerie certainty that this exact moment, this conversation, this room, this exact angle of light has happened before. Not similar, identical, and then it's gone, and you're left wondering what just happened to you. For decades, people have pointed to this exact feeling as proof that reality glitched, that for 1 second, the system running your life stuttered, reloaded, and showed you a frame it had already rendered. Here's what's actually happening inside your brain when that occurs, and why, even after neuroscience explained it, the simulation explanation refuses to die. Let's start with where this idea actually came from. In 1977, the science fiction writer Philip K. Dick gave a talk in France where he proposed something that sounded insane at the time. He suggested that reality might be something closer to a program, and that déjà vu was the moment you briefly noticed the program had been edited, a variable changed, a scene re-rendered, and for one fraction of a second, your mind caught the seam. Decades later, when the Matrix became a cultural phenomenon, this idea got a new name and a visual language. In the film, déjà vu is explicitly described as a glitch, the code rewriting itself in real time, and the character noticing because he sees the same moment twice. The phrase glitch in the Matrix entered everyday language, and déjà vu became its flagship example. The one experience almost everyone has had, that almost everyone struggles to fully explain, and that maps perfectly onto the idea of a re-rendered reality. So here's the question: what does neuroscience actually say is happening? Your brain has two separate systems that are supposed to work together every time you experience something. One system handles familiarity, a fast, automatic sense of "I've encountered this before." The other handles recollection, the slower, more detailed process of actually retrieving the memory itself, with context, time, and place attached. Normally, these two systems fire together. You see something familiar, and your brain simultaneously retrieves where and when you encountered it before. Familiarity and memory arrive as a match pair. Déjà vu happens when they desynchronize. The familiarity system, centered in a region called the parahippocampal cortex, deep in your temporal lobe, fires on its own. It tags the current moment as familiar. But the recollection system, which would normally supply the actual memory that explains why it's familiar, doesn't fire alongside it, or it fires on a memory that doesn't actually match. The result is a feeling with no source. Your brain is telling you with total confidence that this has happened before, while simultaneously failing to produce any memory of when. You get the emotional signature of remembering, with none of the content. Researchers using virtual reality have actually recreated this. When people are placed in environments that are spatially similar to places they've seen before, but not identical, many report déjà vu. Your brain notices the layout is familiar before you consciously register why, and for a moment, familiarity and recognition fall out of step. That's the neuroscience answer, a brief desynchronization between two memory systems that are supposed to move in lockstep. It's elegant, it's well supported, and it should be the end of the story. It isn't. Here's the detail that keeps this question alive, and it's the part most explanations skip entirely. Déjà vu isn't just a curiosity in healthy brains. It's also a documented warning sign of temporal lobe seizures. In patients with temporal lobe epilepsy, doctors have used direct electrical stimulation of the brain during surgery with patients awake to artificially trigger déjà vu on command. Touch an electrode to the rhinal cortex or hippocampus, and a patient will suddenly report the unmistakable sensation that this exact moment has happened before. Some patients experience intense déjà vu in the seconds immediately before a seizure begins, to the point where neurologists treat it as a clinical clue. So the same feeling that gets dismissed as just a memory glitch when it happens to you on a random Tuesday is, in a slightly more intense form, something doctors can trigger by touching a specific point in someone's brain, and something the brain itself sometimes uses as an early warning that its own electrical activity is about to misfire. That's not nothing. That's your brain producing one of its strangest, most specific sensations from a precise, identifiable location under both ordinary and extraordinary circumstances. And this is exactly the kind of detail that simulation theory proponents have seized on. If déjà vu were just random noise, a meaningless misfire, why does it have this much structure? Why can it be summoned on command from one exact location? Why does it sit right at the boundary between normal cognition and a neurological event significant enough to be a seizure precursor to someone already inclined to see signals in the noise noise. That specificity feels like evidence of something deliberate, not a glitch in your brain, the glitch in the rendering. So why does this explanation persist, even among people who fully accept the neuroscience? Philosopher Nick Bostrom, who popularized the modern simulation argument in 2003, has actually addressed this directly, and his answer might surprise you. He doesn't treat deja vu or glitches as evidence for his argument at all. When people email him describing strange coincidences or visual glitches as proof we're in a simulation, his response is essentially that these experiences are far better explained by ordinary psychology, perception errors, memory quirks, pattern-seeking minds, than by any flaw in a simulated reality. In other words, the person who built the modern version of this argument doesn't think deja vu supports it. So why does the idea keep spreading anyway? Because deja vu has a specific quality that almost no other common experience has. It doesn't just feel unfamiliar or strange. It feels like a memory. It comes with the emotional certainty of recollection attached to a moment that has no past. That combination, certainty plus impossibility, is exactly the shape of evidence people look for when they want to believe something is being hidden from them. Deja vu doesn't feel like your brain made a small mistake. It feels like you caught reality doing something it wasn't supposed to let you see. Here's the actual reframe. The neuroscience explanation isn't a letdown. It's arguably stranger than the simulation explanation. Your brain runs two separate systems, familiarity and recollection, that are supposed to move in such tight synchrony that you never notice them as separate at all. Deja vu is the one moment where that seam becomes visible. It's not your brain glitching. It's your brain's normal hidden architecture becoming briefly accidentally visible to you. You're not catching reality being re-rendered. You're catching yourself, the machinery of your own memory, exposed for half a second before it smooths back over and disappears. The next time it happens, that cold, certain feeling that this has all happened before. You're not wrong that something unusual just occurred. You're just looking in the wrong direction. The glitch isn't out there, it's in here.